أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين حبيبنا وحبيب إله العالمين أبا القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. Our dear viewers, welcome to another episode of our live podcast on Alwasi TV, where tonight I'm joined with the respected Sayyid Hassan al-Mudarrisi, and really it's just an open discussion. We've got a few events to mention, one being the martyrdom of Sayyida Zaynab salamullahi alayha, and also the birth of Sayyida Sukaina radwanullahi alayha. Sayyidina, salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing great.
It's good to be back in the studio.
Hello,
Some changes. We've got a new studio also,
yes.
A more laid back environment, which is very nice. And I love the purple paint.
Yeah.
It really brings out everything.
Yeah.
The good contrast.
Yeah, it's a bit different than the old white,
Yeah,
white. Yeah, we're changing it quite a bit. With this color, I was told you can play around with it, make it bluish, make it, alhamdulillah, it's good.
Looks
it's
beautiful.
Step forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna use one of Hajj Radwan's tactics, even though he's not here and we do dearly miss him.
Yeah.
And in the Friday lecture, you mentioned something that was beautiful. I think a lot of people don't really understand that when it comes to role models, when it comes to the Ahlul Bayt and the family of the Prophet, I feel like there's a male versus female, and like the females feel like they have less role models because they have Sayyida Fatima al-Zahra, Sayyida Khadija, Sayyida Zaynab salamullahi alayha. And for the males, we probably have a lot more that we can go to, which is the Prophet and the Imams, the 12 Imams.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that when it comes to Sayyida Zaynab salamullahi alayha, and her being a role model, and her being the mother of patience and not the mother of calamities, that Zaynab, being a Zaynabi, is for all. It can be for the males and for the females.
That's right.
And I felt like that was a beautiful, beautiful point. And if you want to touch on that for our viewers again, and
like you mentioned, we do have the male side. They do have a lot more to pick from, and that is a hadith actually from the Prophet. كثر من كمل من الرجال كثير ولم يكمل من النساء إلا أربعة. And he mentions the four. Kamula means that the perfection, they reach the perfection, many of the male side.
Yeah.
But of course, the females, they also can take some male role models, Ahlul Bayt salamullah alayhim ajma'in. But Lady Zaynab, she has a fascinating life. Because when it comes to a woman, they looked at as this very fragile being, very fragile.
Yeah.
Compared to the male side.
Yeah.
They look at the male, he's stronger, he goes to war, he's a father, he's this and that. And sometimes even in some households, when a male says, I have some emotional problems and all this, they say to him, you're a male, you just deal with it. Anta rajal, like they say.
Hold it in, hold your emotions in.
Walk it off.
Be strong.
Be strong. But when it comes to females, you speak to her 2-3 words, she starts to cry and she shows that emotion and she's like a delicate flower.
Yeah.
When it comes to Lady Zaynab, she showed these characteristics that no one has ever seen, and that is to be patient in the worst tragedies. The tragedies of looking with your own eyes and seeing all what is happening. And I'm not just talking about the day of Ashura. Even before that, with the demise of the Prophet, she was there. Yep. She was very young.
Exactly.
And then the demise of Fatima al-Zahra, the martyrdom of Lady Fatima al-Zahra. She saw the attack on the house. She saw the burning of the door. Then she saw the father, and then Imam al-Hassan, and then Imam. Yet she showed this beautiful character that she has this fadila. She has this kind of a. When it comes to patience, you mention her straight away. You say the patience, the patience of
the mountain of patience.
The mountain of patience. And that word that I mentioned, I think on Friday, I don't know if it was Friday or somewhere else, I said that we have to have it on our screenshots and we have to really have a big poster of it. ما رأيت إلا جميلة. I didn't see anything but beauty.
Yeah.
And you know more than me.
And taking that, sorry to cut you off, but taking that ما رأيت إلا جميلة and the patience aspect, we always just go to Karbala and Ashura. But now that you've put it that way, it really opens up your mind that Sayyida Zaynab, out of the Ashab al-Kisa, the Prophet, and Sayyida Fatima al-Zahra, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam al-Hassan al-Hussein, she was the one who witnessed all of their demise, all of their martyrdoms. And so when she says, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila, you take it into a bigger context. It's not just what happened in Karbala and the Sebi, which happened after it. But she saw everything. And she was able to stay strong to the point where those people who were seeing her deliver her speech in front of Yazid, la'natullah alayh, they say it's as if we saw Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, speaking.
In
Kufa and in
Qurtuba
Sham.
bin Ziyad, and I was about to say, you've seen it more than me in the hospitals, because you work there, in that environment. When someone loses a loved ones, how they break. And it's very hard.
Exactly.
It's not something light that we can say, someone passed away and just have sabr.
No, in the moment, that all goes out the. No matter how strong you think you are, like in that moment, everyone will break down. Everyone will react differently, but at the end of the day, like it's very tough. It's very difficult. And so when it comes to Sayyidah Zaynab and what she witnessed, it's...
What she witnessed on the day of Ashura, and we read it. We recite the maqtal, we call it the maqtal, and we cry the day of Ashura. And when we're going through it, and even if we hear Sheikh Abdul Zahar al-Ka'bi reciting it, and we go through the Masa'ib of Imam Hussein, we say, how can a person live that life and survive? But she survived that day, and she continued. And I think day of Ashura, she started from the day of Ashura onward, that she started to illuminate, that she started to tell us who Zeynab is. Zeynab came into
the spotlight, because for her whole life, while her father's alive and her brothers are alive, no one has seen her shadow. And I think that goes to show how important and how big of a step it was for Imam Hussein to take his sister along with him. When for her whole life, she only leaves her house at night, and then the candles are put out by her brothers just in case someone sees her shadow. And they're walking beside her to go from where? From her house to her grandfather's house, to see her grandfather, to visit her grandfather. And so for her to leave from Medina all the way to Karbala on top of a camel, and then to witness everything, and the Imam knows what's going to happen. And the Imam says, Sha'Allah an yarani qatila wa sha'Allah an yarahunna sabaya. So he knows exactly what's going to happen, but he still chose to bring the family and bring his sister and bring everyone, all the women and the kids and the children with him on that mission, to show the importance of their role after. The sacrifice was very important, but then the message and the messenger of that revolution was Sayyidah Zaynab, really. Where in Kufa, she literally shames those people. They were crying because they had no idea. She says, and that famous speech, and it's so powerful. And in Arabic, you cry, may your tears never stop. And she goes on to literally shame them and explain exactly what they've done. And there's no more, no one can say that there's any ignorance or we didn't know or anything like that. Because a lot of people can claim, oh, we didn't know, we didn't hear, whatnot. And then obviously in Sham, in front of Yazid, in his castle, in his power trip, literally the tip of his power trip, where he's just killed the grandson of his own messenger. And she's able to stand up to him, and literally he was trembling in his own castle.
My uncle said Hadi al-Mudarrisi has written 2 books. One, Waja al-Hussein. And when he finished with that book, he was told that Zaynab, where is her role? So it took him years to write another book, Waqamat Zaynab. And then Zaynab stood. And she starts to shine. With her, I believe this. One, it's her patience, sabr, and the musibah. And then the salat, the faith, that her faith became stronger. Who does this? That you go to the body of your brother, you leave all other bodies, you leave the bodies of your sons and the other loved ones, you go to Imam al-Hussein's body, and you put your hand under the body and you lift it a bit and you say, oh God, take this as our sacrifice and accept it. And then she continues, and I mentioned this a while back, that you see her from the day of Ashura, after the martyrdom of Imam al-Hussein, she's showing this role that she's a caretaker of the caravan. She's a protector of the Imam of her time right now, Imam Zayn al-Abidin. And then she enters Kufa. she delivers in Kufa. Before the Kufa, what she says to Imam Zayn al-Abidin when Imam Zayn al-Abidin was about to surrender his soul.
I was just about to mention that.
Yeah.
And that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's really interesting because there is an opinion, I believe, that because the Imam was in such a state, that there was a period of time where Sayyidah Zaynab filled that role of Imam in a certain way, in some sense. Not fully to the full extent of it, but there was, and that's the perfect example, which is what's another one that you mentioned in the Friday prayer, which is when Sayyidah Zaynab, when Imam Zayn al-Abidin was about his surrender his soul, as you said, and then she mentions the hadith of Ayman.
That's right.
Which is when the angel Jibreel came down and explained everything, what's going to happen to everyone, and how they're going to die. And she gave him strength.
She gave him
the Imam, the infallible Imam of
She gave him strength, and she made it very clear, reassuring the Imam. We can say it's not astaghfirullah. I don't want to say a word that it's gonna be wrong.
No, yeah, but we can say that she was in a position where the Imam himself says to her, "Amati Zaynab anti alima غير معلمة وفاهمة غير مفهمة," meaning that she has ilm ladunni. That's the only way I can interpret it in my limited knowledge, that when he says "Anti alima غير معلمة," meaning you have knowledge that you haven't learned, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has certainly given her such a high status.
That's right.
A degree of infallibility.
That's right.
There's no doubt about that. I think no one can doubt that.
It's the environment she grew up in, the house of prophethood, the house of imamat.
Yeah.
Her grandmother is Lady al-Mu'mineen Khadija bint Khuwaylid. Her mother is Fatima al-Zahra. Her father is Amir al-Mu'mineen. That's why when she delivered the sermon in Kufa, the narrator says it was as if Ali is uttering in her ears, and she was saying it back. The fasaha, the balagha, the eloquence of Lady Zaynab.
The tongue of Amir al-Mu'mineen.
The tongue of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And of course, it's Lady Zaynab.
Yeah.
And then what she says to Ibn Ziyad, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges you and judges them. And you see, وَلِمَنِ الْفَلَجَ Ibn Ziyad or Ibn Marjan, and then she says, تَكَلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ Ibn Marjana. May your mother sit and cry for you, weep for you, or Ibn Marjana. Who does that? And these guys, they thought the tawaghit of the Asr, the tyrants, they thought, you know what, we killed Hussein and we are done with it. If you look at the journey of Imam al-Hussein and what he said, شاء الله أن يراهن سبايا. Imam al-Hussein thought about everything, because it's a revolution, and the revolution needs a couple of things. One, the leader, and that is Imam al-Hussein. The message, مثل لا يبايع مثله. And there is a whole book of sayings of Imam al-Hussein from Salamullah ala Abu Abdullah, from Medina to Karbala. We have it in Farsi, we have it in Arabic, we have it in English.
Because there was plenty of stops the Imam had.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number, but I think it was at least 12. It was more than 12 stops. Definitely more than 12 stops.
Yeah. And even on the day of
every
Ashura,
stop that the Imam stops at, he gives people a chance. Because it's interesting, because you just mentioned it's a revolution, and it is a revolution. But which other revolution in the history of mankind do you find the revolutionary, the person leading the revolution, the first thing that he says to the people who are there to support him is that I'm going to be killed, I'm going to be cut up on the plains of Karbala, you will all be killed, we're all going to go to our certain death.
No.
Usually the revolutionary and the person who wants to start a revolution says, you know what, boosts the morale.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you positions in the government.
You're going to get this position, you're going to get some money, some booties of the war. We're going to be successful, we're going to be strong, even though he knows they're not, but to boost their morale and then for other people to join him.
No.
But the Imam says, no, this is very clear. This is what's going to happen. Why? Because the Imam wants to filter.
That's right.
Because those people who become a martyr on the day of Ashura, that level and what they're going to achieve, ما رأيت أصحاب مثل أصحاب أو خيرا من أصحابي, when Imam Hussein says, even the Ashab of Rasulullah, even all of the Ashab ever, and now till this day they're all remembered and they will forever be remembered in history. The Imam didn't want anyone to achieve that status. He wanted specific people to achieve it.
He cleansed them throughout the journey. That is why if you recite those books, and I recommend for everyone to get a copy of it. I mentioned this, I think, 3 years ago in London, the sayings of Imam al-Hussein from Medina to Karbala.
Yeah.
If you want to read, of course, the Arabic kalimat Imam al-Hussein min Medina ila Karbala, it's the same translation of it.
It's so interesting.
The Farsi one is Sukhanan Imam Hussein as Medina to Karbala. Beautiful. As I was mentioning, the saying of course the leader and then the ashab. I need to have the greatest ashab companions, and then I need media release.
Yeah.
I don't have internet, social
No.
media.
And we know how important that is today.
But he had Lady Zaynab.
Yeah. She was, the media.
I think Bani Umayyah, the Umayyads, they made it the biggest mistake of the lifetime, and that was the end of them. That they took Zaynab al-Kubra, salamullahi alayha, as-Saddiqa as-Sughra, they took her and they paraded them captive from one town to the next. That is why it's mentioned more than 30 villages and cities. So they didn't go straight to Kufa.
No,
they didn't go straight.
They wanted to go the long route.
The longer
There was a shorter route. No, they decided to take the long route.
to show them off. You know, this is our victory. We are one. Yeah. But she goes everywhere and she spreads the message of Hussein. Salamullah alayha. And she finishes them off. As I mentioned, and this is very good if we can mention this, her role starts on the day of Ashura and ends when Imam Zayn al-Abidin goes on the minbar. That's it. You don't hear anything from the Zaynab.
Ahsant,
You don't see her talking anymore because I'm here protecting you. I'm here, hold on to that message, spread it out. But the Imam of my time, Zayn al-Abidin, he talks. That's it. I'm done.
It's like she was like, الأمثال تضرب ولا تقاس. But it's like when you have a change in government and there's a caretaker.
Yes.
It's an emergency period. There's a caretaker person who just runs things for a temporary basis until the next person comes. That's exactly the role that I would describe for her, is that she was literally the caretaker. The Imam, obviously, the state that he was in, if you read on, how sick he was, it was really intense. It was really bad. That he couldn't even stand up. And so she literally filled that role. And who better to fill that role than Sayyidah Zaynab? And then that takes us back to the males and females in Islam. Because that's another thing where the misconception that in Islam, women are marginalized, women are, not given a role in society. And you find that before Sayyidah Zaynab made that stand in those speeches, her mother also made a stand. And again, when her right was usurped, Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, salamullahi alayhi, Sayyidah Nisa al-Alameen, Ahsant, the Khutbah Fadakiyya, she went to the mosque of Rasulullah and she stood on the podium and she delivered a lecture exactly describing that, how her right was usurped. So you find that the ultimate role model for women today is Sayyidah Zaynab, because the hijab, who has better hijab than Sayyidah Zaynab or Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra? The ultimate level of hijab. Through all calamities that she witnessed, yet she was still strong, yet she still had a role, a very important role, which is the media role, which is to deliver the message. Because that sacrifice of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, the ultimate sacrifice, the grandson of Rasulullah and all of the other Ahlul Bayt, and everything that was given, had there not been someone like Sayyidah Zaynab salamullahi alayha and Imam Zayn al-Abidin, but importantly, that's that period where they went to Kufa and then they went to Sham. Had Sayyidah Zaynab not been there and not had that role, then there is a chance that we can say that sacrifice and the true message behind that sacrifice would have been lost.
That's right.
So she carried the weight of all of that responsibility to deliver that message. So 100% in Islam, there's plenty of role models for women. And I think something that I mentioned, I think I had a full lecture a couple of years ago about Asya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَضَرَبَ اللَّهُ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثَلًا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا امْرَأَةَ فِرْعَوْنَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He's giving an example to the believers, the wife of Fir'aun.
That's right.
And what she did. And it also goes back to patience. It goes back to how she was living with Fir'aun and how she was patient. And then she stood up to him. And then how she was killed and whatnot. So
Tortured and killed.
Tortured in the most extreme way. And the Quran actually describes it specifically, exactly how she was tortured. So there's plenty of role models in Islam. And then going back to, she's not just a role model for the woman, she's a role model for the men. Because in this day and age, and the difficulties that we face, I feel like patience is something we all can get a bit more of.
Oh, yeah, patience, I think.
Inflation, the rising cost of living, the politics, that's going on everywhere, all the hardships that we're dealing with. I think right now, the best or the most important thing is
we don't tolerate anything
patience.
these days. You know that you see the young man and woman out there, the teenagers and even older and even younger, across the board, because everything is quick these days. On social media, if I go
Instant
instant, and
gratification,
everything is 2 seconds, 10 seconds. It works straight away. We want everything to be done quickly, fast. We don't have patience for small things. What about when it comes to big things? And I have to deal with adult stuff. You know, I financially
marriage.
I don't have
family,
anything. You know, someone gets financially ruined. You know, he loses everything. Does he really truly have patience? Because it's not about patience. I have sabr.
How many people have died, say?
They commit suicide.
Over financial loss, like a massive financial loss, heart attack, and they die, literally.
Yeah, but that's the thing, subhanallah, when it comes to Lady Zaynab, it's not just she had the sabr. She was, you know, because some people, they think patience means I stand, you know, still and be silent. And I say, okay, happen. I have the content. And I say, you know, رضا بقضاء الله,
it's a step further than that.
It's that I move forward. Yeah. I have patience. I accept what Allah has written for me. And then what I do is I move forward. That's why Imam Hussein told all of them. Imam Hussein, there is a beautiful, I think it was the last time he spoke to his family. It was just him and them, the ladies. And he said to them, be patient. And don't say anything or do any act that will be what Allah accepts. You know, be patient, have modesty, have chastity, you know, observe your hijab. Don't say a word because that word, it just burns down a whole.
الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا. It's what you say when the musibah comes. قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.
What do you think of it? Lady Zaynab, she's a daughter of Imam Ali. Subhanallah. She's a daughter of Fatima al-Zahra. If you really truly put the khutbah of Lady Fatima al-Zahra Fadakiyya, and
the only time where two infallibles are married ever, yes. And these are the offspring of those two infallibles. So nothing should surprise us, really.
But Lady Zaynab, she really showed us, she has the eloquency of her father. She has the knowledge and the forbearance and the wisdom of her mother, Fatima al-Zahra. And she lived longer than Fatima al-Zahra.
Yeah.
She saw more masayib than Fatima al-Zahra.
Definitely.
But when it's embedded in you, and when I say that, someone might say, you know, that's it. It's the mother. My mother is not Fatima al-Zahra. My father is not Imam Ali. Then why do you want me to be? No, it's not that. She saw it with her eyes. When she goes on and on saying, praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Zayn al-Abidin, the night of Ashura, the 11th, the night of Ashura, he calls her, oh Amma, she doesn't reply. And then she says, yes, what do you want, oh dear one? Ya baqiyat al-madin. See the beautiful words that comes out of this mouth, this beautiful character, this beautiful individual. She says, Ma ya baqiyat al-madin, the remainder of my family, because everyone was killed.
So eloquent,
And then he says, why you didn't answer me? She said, I'm praying. I'm praying. Who does that? I lose my father, my mother. I have the astaghfirullah. I have that push that don't pray today. You know, into shivit musibah. You have a day off.
It's a tough time.
It's a tough
time.
And
for those people that say, well, I'm not an infallible, that when it comes to role models, you're not meant to be exactly the same as them, but they're meant to be the high standard and the high bar that you have, that you're trying to achieve or trying to imitate them and trying to be like them. Obviously, you're not going to be exactly like them, but even if you have 1% or 2% of what they were or what they achieved or how they acted, that's good enough, because they are the perfect examples. And also, we do have examples who aren't infallibles.
That's right.
And that's the beauty of our religion. If you want to go down that route, then yes, we have men and women who were not infallibles, who achieved extremely high statuses. And when it comes to the woman, you have the likes of al-Banin. Salaam alayha. She was not an infallible. She was not from the family of Rasulullah. And I know I'm going a bit off topic, but
no, it's okay.
She became Bab al-Hawa'ij, that no Shi'i household does not read Fatiha for al-Banin when you're leaving on a long trip, when you've forgotten something, when you've lost something, when someone's sick, you read Fatiha for al-Banin. She wasn't infallible, but the way that she lived her life, the way that she was raised, the way that her family were, she was destined for greatness. And then the way she acted and the way she dealt and took care of the Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein and Sayyida Zaynab. So she was like she wasn't really a second mother in the sense because the age wasn't really, like she wasn't a lot older
There's not
than
much gap.
but she took care of them in the way that she was literally like a mother to them.
Yes,
So
that's
she
why
took, when
Lady
they're
Zaynab
sick,
called her Ummah. Ya
exactly,
Ummah, ya Ummah.
exactly. Even though they're similar in age, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. I mean, a lot of people assume that
They were children when they Imam
yeah,
Ali
no,
married
no.
her.
They were actually very close in age, but she took on that role to that degree where she said, I wouldn't enter this household. Which woman gets married to a man and stands at the door and says, I'm not entering the door unless you and your children accept me as a slave, as a servant in your household. So her having that humility, and that doesn't come from nowhere. That comes from her being raised in a family. And it's a very long story, and I've actually heard it from one of Sayyid Hadi's lectures about al-Banin and her father's dream. I'm not sure if you've heard the story, but her father had a dream of a jewel that he finds. Her father was a businessman. It's a very interesting story. I love it. Her father was a businessman, and he would travel with people like a long distance away. Very rich man, and he had a dream that he had a jewel in the middle of the desert, and the man comes on a horse and says, "Sell me that jewel." He says to him, "I don't know what it's worth." He says, "Sell it to me or give it to me, and I will make sure that one of the greatest men ever will one day you'll be related to you or have a connection to him." And so, that whole story comes back. And then she has a dream. When Aqil comes to their house, she has a dream.
Of the moons.
And she says to her mom, oh mother, I had a dream. Exactly. The moon and the stars come in my lap. Subhanallah. So she wasn't infallible. She wasn't from an infallible family, yet she achieved that level of greatness.
Our ulama.
Exactly.
If you look at the story of one of the ulama, he came all the way from Kabul. He had no money.
Yeah.
Very poor. From Afghanistan, Kabul. All the way from Kabul, Afghanistan to Najaf al-Ashraf to study. He came there, very hot day. He reached Najaf. He had no money for a room for him to rent, for some food or anything like that. So he went to where? He went to Wadi Salam.
Yeah.
He said, I go to Wadi Salam. I find some shelter. It's very hot. I, sleep under the shelter.
Yeah.
I stay there. And he went there, this alim, one of the biggest ulama.
Yeah.
I mentioned his name in a bit. And he became very thirsty.
Yeah.
Very thirsty. He became very thirsty. He saw there is a stream of water. He drank from it. When he finished drinking from it, he found out that this water is from washing the dead bodies. Yeah. So he went to the ziyarah of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. And he said, "Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I came from Afghanistan. I have this patience, the sabr is sabr ala al-musiba, sabr ala al-adha, because patience is not one thing, it's quite a bit of couple of things, sabr ala ta'atillah, it's all of that.
Yeah.
Now, can you become a doctor, a cardiologist, if you don't have patience?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. It's not going to happen overnight. You have
Could
to
be
study.
a surgeon, maybe.
You need to study day and night. You have to really put your life.
100%.
Ahead. It takes a lot of time. That he said that I came all of this way, but this drinking from a water that they used to wash bodies, this is hard for me. I can't continue like that. But he still had sabr. He has patience. Subhanallah, the same day, a person came to him and he said to him, "Are you Mudarris al-Afghani?" He said, "Yes, I'm Mudarris al-Afghani." He said, "Have you come from Kabul, from Afghanistan?" He said, "Yes." He said, "My master has sent me." "Who's your master?" Said Abu al-Hasan al-Isfahani. And he said, Come with me. He took him to Said Abu al-Hasan al-Isfahani, one of the maraji' of his time. And he became Mudarris al-Afghani. Even today, if you go to Hawza, if you wanted to study Hawza, you go through his books. The patience of the ulama, they went through patience. If you go read the history of many of the wealthy people, they went through patience. It took them time to get wherever they got to.
You can't achieve greatness without patience. And sometimes you look at people and you're like, there is no way that I could do that. That, as you mentioned, for example, doctors and specialists and those who get into these really specialized fields, 15 years of study and then another 5 years of placement, like 20 years of your life to then have the chance. There's still a possibility. Maybe you'll make it in and get a position, or maybe you won't. That takes a lot of patience.
And social life, you don't have any?
No social life. I know a few of them that are not even married. They're married to the job. I told them, you're married to the job.
That's it.
Because they're there, 5 a.m. in the morning, and they're the last one to leave the hospital, like 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, so just saying that, and correct me if I'm wrong, can someone say, why has he achieved this and I haven't? And the other person is sleeping until noon?
No, exactly.
Well, you're
Yeah,
not doing what he's doing.
exactly.
He has put
Yeah.
forward everything.
Yeah, and then you put the blame on God.
Yeah.
Allah, why is that person so successful? And why is that person a doctor? And why is that person, in this position in life? Even when it comes to religion, sometimes, oh Allah, why is that person, really religious? And then the blame is always on the person. Like, have you put in the effort? Have you tried to achieve what that person has achieved? And at the same time, you don't know what that person's been through, or how hard it is for that person to achieve what they achieved, regardless of what it is, whether it's academic or financial or in religion. So patience is
key, yeah.
is extremely important.
Very, very important. Lady Zaynab, she truly showed us the true meaning of patience, the definition of patience, and moving forward. And she turned a victory for the Umayyads into a loss.
Yeah, a physical victory.
A physical victory, yeah. She made them realize you didn't win anything.
Well, that was
Actually,
their end. That was the end of
That was the
Bani
end.
Umayyah. How come Bani Umayyah was done?
They ruled for 98 years.
Yeah.
Lady Zaynab, Lady Zaynab she did her role so well that came to a point that Ibn Ziyad is pointing to Yazid. Yazid is pointing to Ibn Ziyad, blaming each other. Yeah, that you were the
Blame
reason.
game, yeah.
Blame game. You the one killed him. I didn't kill him.
I didn't know. Yeah.
But this is, of course, from a daughter of Amir al-Mu'mineen, salamullah alayha. And I think the more we read into her life, the more we understand a true great character. And of course,
it's definitely, we're definitely lacking in that regard, because it's not like a one lecture or one session where the life of Sayyidah Zaynab and what she achieved and what she did and the importance and the lessons that you learn. I think you can spend a very, very long time just extracting lessons from her whole life, from the beginning of her life up until her very last days. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sayyidah Zaynab, in terms of her death, there are some narrations or some opinions that she was martyred, that she was killed.
She was given poison,
Because of that, because of her message that she kept spreading throughout her life about what happened, wherever she went. The Majlis of Abu Abdullah, if you can call it that, was alive and well, and then they had to kill her. They had to
the revolution of Lady
silence
Zaynab wasn't a revolution of sword, it was the revolution of tears.
Yeah.
And you know how it is. And
tears and words, which can be a lot more powerful than the sword.
You've done a lot of lectures, because if we the way that you change a person's personality and you cleanse them is through the tears for Imam al-Hussein.
Oh, yeah.
That is why he says, "Man abka aw tabaka wa baka." That you get someone to cry, and someone cries. Aw tabaka, that means to. If you can't cry, pretend to cry.
And that's the only time where you find some of these narrations. It's only when it's related to Imam Hussein.
Only for Imam Hussein, salamullah. And the jaza is all haram except for Imam Hussein, salamullah. And Lady Zaynab, salamullah alayha, she started this revolution to a point. The governor of Medina al-Munawwara, he writes to, I think it was Marwan ibn al-Hakam. He says to him, if you want anything from Medina, you have to get this woman out of Medina.
Yeah.
Get her out. Now, when it comes to where she was poisoned, because I have my own. Where she was poisoned, and then later on where she was
buried. There's also a lot of debate about that.
A lot of debate. The one that we know.
Egypt or Syria.
The one we know is the viewers can't see is Damascus. Some people say in Medina. She actually died and she was buried in Medina al-Munawwara. And of course, when the history.
Some say Egypt.
Some say Egypt. Yeah, that's right.
Probably weaker narrations. Yeah.
Because your history books, as you know, it's not written by us. It's written by them.
Yeah.
And we get as much as possible from that we can. They burnt a lot of our books. A lot of our books were thrown into the Nile River. A lot of our books were thrown in the Euphrates. All through. If some of the people of Yemen, I have a friend in Yemen, he said to me that in some villages in Yemen, because you know the Shia Zaydis, the Houthis, He says that you go to these houses, very old houses, They have books that are calligraphies, and the book is not in a proper library. It's actually made to be a stairway into another level,
Okay.
the second
Yeah,
level.
yeah, yeah.
So, and I asked the person who was living there. I said, "Did you read these books? You know who these books are?" He says, "No, they've been here for hundreds of years." So we have a lot of our Turath. Unfortunately, our heritage was stolen, burned. Yeah,
Exactly, because we were. It's funny because the Imams, not one of them, actually tried to get into power. Yet they were all martyred. They were all killed because they were seen as a threat. Why? Because they were the rightful
yeah.
leaders. They should have been the leaders. So they were a threat just by existing. In fact, how many Alawis, thousands and hundreds of thousands of them were murdered and killed just because of that relation to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Just by having the name of Ali were killed. So, of course, history is going to be distorted. They burnt the hadith of Rasulullah.
Hasbuna kitabullah.
Hasbuna kitab Allah. Give me all the hadith, I'm going to burn them. And then continued, because if you have the hadith of Rasulullah, the true hadith, where Rasulullah has mentioned many, many times exactly who's going to be after him. Amir al-Mu'mineen is going to be after him, and the Imams after him. So, of course, they're going to distort history. In fact, not just getting rid of it. Let them get rid of it. They actually just remove that. How many hadith have you heard from the other side where we know it's a hadith about Imam Ali? They just remove Imam Ali's name and add
Someone else's.
someone ABC from these
And
people.
subhanallah, when you go through it, you can tell. Because I
It
know
doesn't
this one is not for him.
suit. It doesn't suit.
Because I know how
my
this
God.
person rolls. I know how he talks. It never ever this is from them.
It's I don't know how they think. It's crazy. I have a friend who mentioned that on YouTube. He was scrolling and he found the anime for Khalid ibn al-Walid.
Wow.
And he's like, no, because he thought the way they worded the title, he thought it was about Amir al-Mu'mineen. That's why I was relative. I forgot exactly what the phrase that they used. Asadullah al-Ghalib or something like one of those, that Amir al-Mu'mineen's titles. And he opened it and was like, oh, this is about Khalid ibn al-Walid. And they covered his face. Like just noor, just light, because, you can't see.
It's unbelievable. It's Ahlul Bayt al-Nubuwwah. Allah gave them that. Allah gave them this status. It's not you or I or anyone else's that can decide yes, no. This is them. It's not. You either get on this ship, this ark, and you benefit from them, or you want to be on another one. It's up to you, because it's your loss.
Yeah.
You're not gonna gain anything if you don't carry on and you believe in the right people. That's why he said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the hadith of Rasulullah when it comes to Amir al-Mu'mineen, أنا مدينة العلم وعلي بابها فمن أراد المدينة والحكمة فليأتها من بابها من يأتها من بابها.
Exactly. And what does it mean, Madinat al-Ilm?
Yes.
What does that mean? The city of knowledge.
But he didn't say.
Yeah.
So you see them, they come and they say, okay, yes, he said the gate, but others are the doors, and then the others are the windows and the sewage system, and
tunnels, underground tunnels,
and you can get to this city from other. No, Habibi, you can't.
Aliyun Baba. There's only one door.
Yes, and that is Amir al-Mu'mineen.
And that city of knowledge encompasses everything. Today we have, medical city, or whatever you call it, like Medina Tabi, for example.
Yes.
Has everything, or every single type of specialty, every single hospital, every single treatment facility, everything related to medicine is in that city. So when Rasulullah says, "Ana madinatul ilm," all of knowledge is within Rasulullah. Wa aliyun babaha, and the only way that you can get to that knowledge, the true knowledge, even the Quran, even the actual true meaning of the Quran, is through Amir al-Mu'mineen, Salamullahi alayhi. And yet you find that he was not given his rightful place till this day.
No. Of course, throughout history, you've seen it. You've seen that there are the ones who oppose the great characters. That's not just Amir al-Mu'mineen. Yeah. They don't want this person or that person or that person. I don't want him. I don't want her. I choose the person I want. Even with Rasulullah. Rasulullah, when he announced his prophethood, people of Quraysh, they said no. The Jews that were living in Medina al-Munawwara, when the Prophet said, I'm the Prophet, I'm the last messenger, they said, no. You're one of the descendants of Ismail. We came all the way from all over the world to get here in Medina al-Munawwara. I don't want to say from where. I say all over the world. Yeah. We came here for the last Prophet to be one of the descendants of Isaac. Ishaq. Salamullah alayhi. But no, we don't accept that. Allah it tells you who you should follow. It's not your choice to say, no, I don't want that. Even when it came to Adam, Adam Abu al-Bashar, Allah said to the Malaika, Asjudu li Adam, fasajadu illa Iblis aba wa kafar. And he said, no, that's not going to happen because I'm greater than him. I'm greater than him because you created me from fire and you created him from clay or whatever it is. Yeah, he's not someone that I'm going to follow. But the Malaika, because they understand, they know, you follow what Allah tells you to follow.
You don't worship Allah how you want to worship Him. Exactly.
No, you do that. But when Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, of course, he's the wasi of the awsiya Allah, and he's the greatest of the awsiya Allah. After the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam, there is khairul anbiya wal mursaleen. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib is the second greatest human being Allah created. Now you have an issue with him, you don't love him, and you say Abu Bakr, Umar, or Uthman, or whatever.
Khalid.
Or Khalid. I heard the other day one of the so-called ulama. He was screaming into the mic, and the beard was everywhere, and he was saying that yes, the father-in-law is definitely greater than son-in-law.
Okay.
And I was okay. Because Abu Bakr is a father-in-law.
Yeah.
Omar is a father-in-law.
Greater than son-in-law.
Yes, greater than son-in-law, and that is who?
Ali ibn Abi Talib.
Ali ibn Abi Talib, that is the son-in-law of the. Why? How are you measuring it?
Where's the relevance there? Like father-in-law versus son-in-law. Like that's when you have nothing. Said when you've got nothing with your argument, you just start grasping at straws, as they say. All right, let's see who's closer, father-in-law or son-in-law. No, son-in-law.
And the fadail they tell you of it's least I don't want to go through many of them, but the fadail, the so-called manaqib,
there's none. The cleanest sword in the history of Islam is the sword of Umar ibn Khattab. He's never killed anyone. Name me one person that he's killed. Literally, the safe of Amir al-Mu'mineen, who was defending Rasulullah.
It broke off and they brought him from the heavens.
And then Jibreel comes down and says, La fata illa Ali wa la sayfa illa dhul fuqara. And the angels are all there.
Nahjul Balagha. Nahjul Balagha gets me any of the companions. With all due respect to all of them. And I love all of them. I adore them, except for some.
No, this is from their history books. It's all from their
Nahjul Balagha, get me any of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They have one page of Nahjul Balagha. Sorry, half a page.
Not even one sentence.
Not even one sentence. The one I mentioned in the mosque before we came, نفس المرء خطاه إلى أجله. Such a small words, but the meaning.
Simple, such a big meaning.
Meaning, نفس المرء,
the breath that you take is your step towards your end. Every breath that you take.
And then when it comes to other ones, if you remember a couple of years ago, I was going through the letter of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib to Imam al-Hasan al-Mujtaba.
Yeah, the wasiyah.
The wasiyah. And I went through it in different Husayniyat, in the mosque, Salat al-Jum'ah, here. And then one day I sat down, not even half a page. I haven't done anything. And I'm not someone who's a alim. I'm just a teacher. I'm just a student. Yes, and I was thinking, this one, it needs years.
And where did you get the time? Like the Imam is in battle. It's subhanallah.
And for the Imam, he's just writing it. I finished with Safin. I'm going to Zaharin. I'm going back to Kufa. Let me write a letter. It's like someone just writing something, a message on WhatsApp, and the Imam is just writing it down.
Yeah, I remember one of the Muharrams. I didn't know what Muharram. The hardest thing is choosing the lecture topics. Yeah. I think I did like 10 lectures from one sentence from that wasiyah of Imam Ali to his Imam al-Hasan, which is obviously a wasiyah for everyone, but the Imam addresses it to Imam al-Hasan. Literally one sentence. I did 10 lectures. أمت قلبك بالزهد, like literally 10 pieces of advice that he gave him in one sentence. I did 10 lectures on it.
The one that he says, it's coming back to me.
أحيا قلبك بالموعظة.
أحيا قلبك بالموعظة. Yeah.
أمته بالزهادة. Yeah, like ذكره بالموت. There's a few of them, but literally like that's one sentence from Amir al-Mu'mineen.
أحيا قلبك بالموعظة. Look at that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
يعني أحيي يعني your
gonna
heart,
enliven your heart. Yeah.
Your heart will die eventually if you don't do that.
That's why you need to listen to Mu'adha.
Subhanallah, the ocean, Amir al-Mu'min.
And zuhd, when it comes to zuhd, and it's just. And so on the other side, what do you have? You've got nothing. There's no knowledge. Is there a book? Is there one chapter written? No. Is there any bravery in war? Is there any achievements? Is there anything that you've done? Nothing. Khalid bin Walid, his achievement was that with Malik
Ibn
Ibn
Nuwayra.
Nuwayra, that's his achievement.
That's
And if
his,
you don't know that story,
he's a
go
criminal.
research that story.
He's a criminal.
Whatever did he do? And even the futuhat that happened, the so-called futuhat, they weren't real Islam, because if they were real Islam, the Islam would have remained. When you open the Andalus and you take over most of Europe, becomes Muslim, and then once you are defeated, well, I don't know, like 50 or 100 years later, Islam is gone, removed.
The golden age of Islam, they call it, and they give it the credit to Harun al-Abbasi.
They went chasing women.
Harun al-Abbasi, they give
yeah.
it credit to Harun al-Abbasi. If you look at it, the golden age of Islam is actually Imam al-Baqir,
Yeah.
Imam al-Sadiq.
Salamullah alayhi.
Imam al-Sadiq, algebra. We're just one of them, algebra. And the other day I was on TikTok and I saw this, they were talking, one of the people, I think it was George Galloway. He said that when we were in Europe in dark ages, the Muslims, they invented algebra. And it's very nice. And he said, actually what he said was different. He said he was in Harvard University, and he said that one of the professors, they came to him and he said, we need to educate the Iraqis. And he said, the day the Europeans were living in the dark ages, the Iraqis, they invented algebra. Algebra was invented not by the Iraqis. Algebra is one of the ulum of Ahl al-Bayt by Imam al-Sadiq.
Chemistry,
Jabir ibn Hayyan
medicine,
al-Ansari.
yeah.
And this is from Ahl al-Bayt. Salamullah alayhim. But of course, again, history is not written by us. So they give credit to the people that they want to give credit to. But if you look deep down, you see that ulum
in every aspect of life.
It's from Ahl al-Bayt.
Every aspect of life. Science, medicine, the technology that we have today, astrophysics, the planets, everything. Ahl al-Bayt,
Salamullah alayhim. It's amazing what they have given us. And for us, especially the ones living in the West, if we continue to research one and then spread out what we learned on social media, because today you have a phone. You don't need a pulpit. You don't need to have a member or lecture hall or anything like that. Your phone is that.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you can spread that continuously, you spread the knowledge of Ahl al-Bayt, the hadith of the Prophet, Imam Ali, Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein.
There is a
Lady
hadith about
Zaynab.
that if people hear our attributes or our good attributes, then they will follow us. And so
Imam al-Rida.
Imam al-Rida, salamullah alayhi.
علموا الناس محاسن كلامنا يتبعونا. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just do that. Nothing
Teach
else.
people about our good attributes. They will follow us. That's all you need to do. You don't need to force them. We don't force people. We don't do anything. We just teach people about the beauty of Ahl al-Bayt.
لا إكراه في الدين.
Exactly.
There is no need to force them to know about religion or about the ulum, the knowledge of Ahl al-Bayt. Just if you spread it out in a beautiful manner, they come to you.
That it's out there, that if you want to learn, then it's available in different media. Because if you can't read a book, a lot of people this day and age will not read a book.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They might listen to a podcast. They might watch a video on YouTube, which is why this is a great channel. What you've done here, it's amazing, especially for our community. Here, it's because, I was watching, I'm keeping up with most of the episodes, but some beautiful episodes have come out lately. I love the one about with the clinical psychologist.
Yes.
That was very eye-opening, very, very nice episode.
That was a great one.
Which is an area where we're really lacking in the community. And I've been trying to bring up every Muharram, mental health issues and whatnot, because it is seriously lacking in our society. So
and we have, alhamdulillah, we have so much knowledgeable people in our community in Sydney. And that is one of the reasons, if you remember, that when we established this place, we said we have so many scholars and knowledgeable people, doctors and professors and engineers and so on and so on, that we want to shed light on them, we want to learn from them. One of them is the clinical psychologist. And Dr. Karrar al-Kufi, God bless him, he's part of the channel now. And he's doing an amazing job. 2 days ago, we just recorded an episode, Dr. Karrar and Sheikh Muhammad al-Rumayyad. Inshallah, it's going to be a series of podcasts about Imam al-Mahdi.
Beautiful.
Yes.
It's very nice.
Inshallah, will come out in Sha'ban. It's already edited and everything. But we want to get it out in Sha'ban time, in the time of Imam
the
Mahdi's birthday.
Birth of the Imam, 15th of Sha'ban.
So it's very important, and we ask everyone to give us whatever they think, any
Exactly.
ideas, any comments.
Any topic doesn't have to be related to religion per se, but any topic you'd like to hear about, any experts. I think you've had financial experts talking
Yes.
about investment. We've had medical experts.
Bus bank, yeah.
But yeah, any topic, anything you'd like to hear about. I think me personally, another important topic to bring people is when it's related to raising children. Those who are experts, because I feel like that's an area we might all be lacking in, is how to deal with children at different ages.
That's right.
From birth, let's say not birth, from 1 year old to 2 year old to 3 year old, because I have a 6 year old and a 1 year old, and it's very difficult sometimes because they're different stages.
That's right.
Different personalities. Like you have children, mashallah, said Allah Fathum. I'm sure you've noticed each one has a different personality.
Yeah.
Each one has a different way that you need to.
You see my
Yeah, yeah, me too.
turning
But
grey.
yeah, that's that for me personally. That's something that I'd love to hear and see.
Yeah. If you have a suggestion who should
Someone
be
who's
on the
expert,
panel,
yeah.
we'll be definitely
yeah.
host them.
Yeah.
We had some ideas that we get some female podcasts as well, but we haven't found a good host to host them.
So if anyone would like to, feels they're able and they're comfortable doing so, they can apply
Yes.
directly. Social media,
Social
available,
media on
email.
YouTube. They can mostly on Instagram. We're on TikTok as well. We're getting big views from TikTok. That we want to do that because it's a needed platform.
Sisters, definitely.
Now podcast is the number one thing that a lot of people they benefiting from. The other day I was at your program. I wanted to come and see it at Shabab Al Ghadir, Al Ghadir Youth. Before you came, the Shabab, the boys were there talking to me, and all of them, they said we listened to a 2 hour 40 minutes of your podcast. But for a lecture, it's very hard for us to focus and sit down because it's one-sided.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though a lecture stays in its place and we love that, but a podcast, because it's one giving, one taking, and it's a conversation.
So I got into podcasts. I was at a previous job and we had these performance coaches.
Yes.
Where they would bring them and they would have one-on-one sessions. So they asked me about, my work and what was happening. So I said, this is what I do. And I drive long hours. And so I still remember the coach was like, so what do you do? Like you're driving from Sydney to Newcastle. It's 2 hours and a half. What do you do in the car? I was like, I drive. He's like, so you don't listen to anything? I was like, oh, not really. Like, sometimes listen to Quran or we listen to, maybe a muhadara, majlis or whatnot. But they told me about podcasts, and there's podcasts for everything.
That's right.
Whatever you want to learn, whatever you want to grow in. And so I am never in the car without listening to a podcast. And I'm always learning. And I learn so much, like especially when it comes to science and the human body and things like that. It's amazing. But then again, now that we have, these beautiful podcasts and discussions from Alwasi TV available on all the platforms, on Spotify and all of the wherever you get your podcast from, as they say.
Yes.
You're in the car, you've got an hour drive, put something on that you can benefit from.
It's a beauty thing. Actually, before I got into starting our own, studios here, last year, we started last year in September.
Yeah.
So it's been now, it's been a year. And we have 40,620 subscribers on YouTube alone.
That's amazing.
And of course, other ones. But before that, before I, asked, spoke with other Shabab from the production team here, and everyone got involved, alhamdulillah. And we have a great team, alhamdulillah. We have a great team. We have a great team here. Yeah. Our editors are in London. They're doing an amazing job.
Amazing, beautiful job.
And I do give them a hard time.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I do, because we want something high quality. We want high quality because it's going to stay there for years and years. Everyone is going to have a look at it. I was listening to Joe Rogan without stop.
Yeah. And he goes on for like 3 hours.
3 hours.
And keeps you engaged the whole time.
Yeah. The first one I listened to Joe Rogan, I still remember, was from, I had a trip from Campbelltown to Canberra.
Yeah.
I had a program, the majlis in Canberra, going there, finishing, and the same night coming back. And I got upset that I didn't finish it because it was 2 hours and it was 3 hours.
Do you ever stay in the car when you get home just to finish
I want to finish. I wanted to finish it. It was actually by one of the, it was Joe Rogan with one of the people he regularly brings, who is, he goes to Amazon and he has a lot of adventures in Amazon. Tribes there, anacondas. And when
There's no contact tribes. who
no
don't have-
contact
yeah.
tribes. That's right.
Yeah.
And when I listened to that, I said, "This is amazing," because he's talking, and Joe Rogan has his own style.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the way he talks and the way he says, "Wow."
Yeah. Gives you, yeah.
Keeps
Yeah,
you, you know.
Oh, you
listening.
definitely need a voice for podcasting, I feel like.
Yeah.
One of my favorite podcasts, now that you've brought up Joe Rogan, is Huberman Labs. This
Yes.
guy is a neuroscientist, like expert in the brain and how the brain functions. And so
Wow.
he's got an episode about everything.
That's
How
cool.
to maintain your health, your mental health, your physical health. And he brings on experts, and he has a 2-hour discussion and keeps you engaged for 2 hours speaking about it. So you learn a lot about your body and about science. But
That's the amazing thing about it, because on YouTube you have so many videos that are not good.
yeah,
They go for hours and
Yeah.
hours. You're not gonna benefit anything
Yeah.
from them. And you have these videos.
I feel like you focus more. I don't know, maybe it's just a personal thing. You focus more when you're just listening
That's right.
than when you're watching a video and there's so much going on and whatnot. But you're driving, you're focusing on your driving, but then you're just listening to something.
You're listening to
Um,
something, yeah.
And
It's an amazing thing about YouTube and even Spotify that you find these amazing channels that they benefit for you, and you learn so much from them
Exactly.
for free, and it's for
yeah,
free.
Yeah.
And I feel like when someone is doing a podcast, the expert that comes there, he says a lot of things that he doesn't say other places.
Yeah.
because
Because it's a different media. Like it's a different. It's a chat.
Mm.
And when you're having a chat, like we're having a chat now, you're forced to kind of speak about things that when you're just there to deliver a lecture on this topic.
That's
All
right.
right, I'm going to speak for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour about this topic, and I'm confined in that topic. Whereas when you're having a chat, we can jump from one topic to the other. You can remember something and just bring it up and talk about it. And that's where you get those little pockets of gold,
That's right.
hidden, pieces of information or knowledge that you otherwise would not have heard from those.
It should be unscripted.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a discussion. You say this is what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
We just swing it like we
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
did
yeah.
today.
Yeah, just rock up.
What we're going to talk about, we're just going to talk.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to talk about anything specific, but because that's a beauty I think of the human, in the way we socialize, that the brain when it feels comfortable, it
Yeah.
just keeps going from
Yeah,
one thing
yeah,
to the
yeah,
like
yeah.
ping pong. We're just
Exactly,
playing.
exactly.
All right, you know what? This.
And
let's
you'd
do
be
it.
surprised. You have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So much information, so much things out there. It's been an amazing chat. Beautiful as always. Hopefully our viewers and our listeners on the podcast have benefited something from this episode. And inshallah, we'll see you again on another episode of Alwasi TV. Make sure you subscribe across all platforms, social media, and all the podcasts, Spotify and whatnot. And inshallah, we'll see you in another episode. Sayyidina.
Inshallah by next week or
Inshallah.
because we do want to do a lot of ones, and we're looking forward for the month of Ramadan.
Yep.
As well, inshallah.
Sha'ban and Ramadan, there's plenty of events.
No, Sha'ban we have our own.
Yeah,
We're doing a
that's-
lot
that's
for
it,
Sha'ban.
yeah.
Ramadan because we did.
Ramadan vibes, is it?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Ramadan, if you remember last year, you were a big part of it.
Yeah.
We did 30 episodes
Yeah.
for every night. We did, inshallah, we do the same thing this year. So we
Inshallah.
have them ready to go. And of course, whatever suggestions our dear viewers and listeners they have, by all means, contact us, put it there. We want to do as much as possible for the community. We want to benefit, inshallah. We want to help out. And don't forget to listen to Coffee with the Sayyid ones.
The most important ones, Coffee with the Sayyid.
Yeah. And inshallah, we see how it goes, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah Sayyidina.
It was
Wafaqan,
great.
inshallah.
One of many, inshallah.
Inshallah. Beautiful.
With you, and it was a beautiful discussion.
Always
We
beautiful to
had a
chat with
great
you.
time.
Always beautiful.
And marhaban.
Thank you, Sayyidina.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Assalamu alaikum, guys.